What do the Bahamas, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica have in common? They're all islands that are known for some of the most beautiful beaches around the world. Most of you have probably heard of or even visited one because they're a cruising distance from the United States. Well, lucky for you, also a cruising distance from the United States, located between California and Hawaii, there is another island that deserves your attention. Although the island is much too large to be observed in entirety from the bow of a ship, and instead of sandy beaches, is composed of 5 to 10 million tons of garbage that is accumulated in the Pacific Ocean, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is estimated to be twice the size of Texas and is only one of 5 large-scale garbage patches worldwide. You might be wondering, how could we let this occur in 5 separate locations without intervention? And in order to understand everything about the trash island, you first need to understand what causes the phenomenon, then hear the level of ecological impact the garbage patches have on the environment before being able to understand what can be done to correct the situation. Let's begin with how the large garbage patches are formed. The formation of these patches has one obvious factor: the improper disposal of the 280 million tons of plastic waste produced every year by humans. In a public case study published by Montana State University, Gianna Andrews explains that trash entering the oceans is a symptom of our throwaway society, and further explains that only 20% of the plastic in our oceans is contributed by ships, while the remaining 80% can be traced to intentional dumping of plastic by factories. In the 2019 publication with a Journal of Advanced Research and Development, Kabir Malhotra explains that most of the waste entering the oceans was composed of oil-based plastics that are not biodegradable, but instead are susceptible to photodegradation, which is the breaking down of plastics into microplastics via the sun. Photodegradation is the reason that most of these garbage patches can only be seen by certain technologies and not by the naked eye. So we understand that waste entering the ocean is one of the most basic factors creating these patches. But how does the plastic naturally accumulate in one place? In a podcast published in 2018 by the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, Troy Kitch and Diana Parker explained that garbage patches are formed when strong ocean currents create slow-moving whirlpools that trap the trash in the center. There are 6 of these gyres across the globe. You might be familiar with the South Pacific Gyre, which is comprised of the EAC, or East Australian Current, which was made popular by the 2003 Disney release Finding Nemo. Now that we understand that the composition of these floating garbage patches, let's discuss the ecological impact of these patches. In Malhotra's study, it was concluded that over 1 million birds and over 100,000 mammals die each year from ingesting plastic. It was also concluded that almost all fish that were exposed to microplastics eventually died, while the ones that managed to survive were at a higher risk for being harvested for human consumption. This poses an issue to humans across the globe because chemicals such as lead, cadmium, and mercury, which are found in these plastics, have been linked to birth defects, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. In addition to causing health problems for humans and wildlife populations, the existence of these garbage patches plays a huge role in the distribution of invasive species across the globe. Not only are individual plastics acting as a vessel allowing invasive species of mollusks, barnacles, and algae to move into non-native waters, but also the cleanup efforts that have been made also have been proven to introduce invasive species into non-native waterways, which is disrupting ecosystems across the globe. Now again, how can we change our behavior to put an end to these garbage islands? Well, unfortunately, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration declared in 2018 that without major government intervention, little can be done to decrease the size of these patches. With that being said, Each and every one of us can limit our contribution to these areas by exercising 3 rules that were introduced to us in grade school: reduce, reuse, and recycle. This motto is important now more than ever. We first need to be able to address the source of this phenomenon before decreasing levels of negative impacts these patches have. And if you need help gaining inspiration, specialists suggest participating in a beach or lake cleanup in order to understand firsthand the impact that your empty soda bottle can have. Thank you.